Hey there, everybody. How are you today? This absolutely amazingly gorgeous day. I'm Fionuala. I'm here in Northern California, Zone 9B, and today I'm going to be showing you how to plant bare root strawberries, how to pick them out, how to do it, the tricks that you need to know to get them off to an absolutely fabulous start. Now, a couple of things you need to know. Bare root strawberries are available in the late fall months all the way through early spring. Right now, we're getting towards the tail end of it, and we're actually having a little bit of a heat wave. So I'm going to share some tricks to help with that kind of a situation too. How you're going to get your little strawberries off to a fabulous start even in the heat. But first, let me tell you, I have had the best week ever. I had some great visitors. Some of my followers came in to visit over the weekend. It was so great. So thank you all so much for following, for all your comments, everything that everybody's sharing with me. I'm learning so much about all of your gardens, and I really love when people come in and tell me about their gardens and what they grow and what their passions are. So yeah, I had a really great weekend and just the best time with the best people coming by to visit. So here I am, Zone 9B, beautiful Northern California. I'm out in front of the chicken coop in case you're wondering what all that noise in the background is. And I'm about to plant some strawberries from bare root. Follow along, you'll find out how you can do it too. First of all, why would you want to grow strawberries? Well, it's pretty obvious. They taste delicious. They go great in pies. Strawberry and rhubarb pie gets me very excited. Can't even speak properly, but that's one of my favorite things ever. Strawberry rhubarb cobbler, pie, anything strawberry and rhubarb. Oh my goodness. So, but fresh and in all sorts of salads. I mean, you can't go wrong with strawberries, and it is so much fun to grow your own. Now, why we're doing bare root today is partly because the variety itself, San Andreas Everbearing, is what I've got in bare root right now, and this is what I want to grow at my house. So this is what we're going to do. First off, you need to get in and pick out your little tiny bare root strawberries. As you can see, what a bare root strawberry is they're not in dirt. That's basically the difference. These ones here are in rice hulls. You can see the little roots are in there. The little tops are beginning to leaf out already, so I know these are viable. So that's the way you're going to start. You pull it very carefully out. You can see the little roots are growing. This guy is alive and well and healthy. Can't wait to get into some actual soil. So this is what we're doing. I'm going to be planting mine in a container, which has been prepped with really great potting soil, and I've mixed it up with soil booster as well. That is my go-to mix. And then there's a couple other tricks I'm going to share with you in just a moment. Okay, trick number one. All those little tiny bare root strawberries, I want to get them really well hydrated before I plant them out in the soil. So I'm going to soak them for about an hour. You can soak them up to about 2 to 3 hours, but with the foliage on it already, I don't want to soak them for too long. So I'm going to do 1 hour. And in the water, I am going to add a little bit of fish emulsion. This is really going to help them out. All right, this is about 1.5 gallons of water that I'm going to soak these babies in. So I am going to do 1.5 cups of fish emulsion with kelp. There's a lot of nitrogen and a little bit of phosphorus and potassium in here. And that is just enough to really give those little baby strawberries the boost that they're going to need. And just let the whole thing soak in there. And they're kind of acting like little water lilies right now with the green foliage floating on the top. But yeah, I'm going to leave them be for about an hour while I finish prepping the soil. So I'm planting my strawberries in a container for a couple of reasons. One, because it's going to be super pretty. But another reason is so that it makes it easier to protect from slugs and snails. Now, slugs and snails love strawberries, and once they get a bite or two out of the beautiful young strawberry that's developing on your plant, the sow bugs come in, and the earwigs come in, and everybody else comes in and gets a bite. The other thing about a container, it makes it easier to protect from birds. Everybody loves strawberries. I really like the fact that it's going to look very pretty. Strawberry plants are actually pretty decorative, and I love the little strawberry flowers. But like I said, the fruit, oh my goodness. I grow rhubarb at home too, so I've got lots of pies and cobblers planned for, and it's going to be amazing. The San Andreas variety that I'm planting is known as an ever-bearing strawberry. Day neutral, ever-bearing, works great in this particular area. And instead of producing all the berries all at once, like you would want if you're a commercial grower, the ever-bearing varieties give you a few strawberries every now and again, which is really great if you're a home gardener. I mean, you're out in your garden snacking on strawberries. What could be better than that? So I'm prepping the soil. It's looking pretty good. I'm going to go do something else for a little bit so that those strawberries get a whole hour of soaking, and then we're going to plant them. Alrighty, here we go. These little babies are so nicely hydrated. Their roots are soaked in that lovely mix of fishy mulching and water. And I am just going to put them right there, set the water down. I'm going to save this fishy mulching and water to water them in at the end. But here we go. So strawberries should be 8 to 12 inches apart. And I'm going to start right here. I'll dig a nice deep-ish hole. All these little roots are different length, but I'm just, make life simple. Dig the same depth hole for every one of them and then deal accordingly. So, nice deep hole. And in the bottom of each hole, I'm going to put a little bit of fertilizer, a great time release fertilizer that I really like, that's specifically for fruit trees and berries and vines. I'm giving the little roots something to reach for. And this fertilizer I use is naturally time release, and it's granular, and it's not hot anyway. Okay. I'm taking my glove off right now because I want to be able to feel these little tiny roots. You don't want the roots doubling back on themselves. You want them to be able to spread out and reach everywhere so that they get all the nutrients from the soil and so that you get extra good berries. Pop the roots out over it so that they're spread out really nicely over the mound. And then very, very carefully pop the soil back in. Now here's something you really got to pay attention to. You're not supposed to bury the crown. And the crown, let me show you on one that I haven't just buried, is that little join between where the leaves start coming out and where the roots are. You don't want to bury that. Now I've just buried it right here, but only because I'm now going to pull it up ever so slightly, press the whole thing down so the roots are making great contact with the soil, and then at the very end I'm going to water them in properly. So yeah, I'm going to keep doing that, make that little mound at the bottom, spread the roots out really nicely. What I love about bare root strawberries and bare root berries in general, bare root anything in general, there's so much potential in this little tiny plant. It's absolutely amazing. It wants to thrive. It wants to give you berries all you have to do is follow some instructions, care for it, and next thing you know, you're going to be harvesting absolutely delicious strawberries. So, little mound, spread out the roots, make sure they're all in contact with the soil. Pile it up around it. Be careful not to smother the crown. And there we go. I'm going to dig a slightly bigger hole for this one. Mound it up in the middle. Spread those little roots out. Make sure it makes contact with the soil. You all know by now, if you're gardeners at all, you know that being in contact with the soil as a human makes you feel good. Helps with the whole serotonin levels. It's fabulous to be outside in nature. It's really fun to grow your own food. Like, there's really nothing better in life than doing all this. You can forget about all of the things that might be going on in the world that could be causing you distress. You don't have to think about that when you're planting strawberries. What you think about is planting these strawberries so that you're getting them off to the best start possible and so that you get the best berries possible. So here we go again. Look at these little roots. They're kind of all pointing in the same direction. But I'm going to spread them out over that little mound in the middle. Cover it up. That one's closer to the 8-inch mark, but I think it's going to be fine. But having it up on legs like this, in a container like this, in any kind of a raised situation where you can protect the exterior, really helps. Gets you off to a great head start. Just makes it easier. Just, because quite often slugs and snails will just arrive overnight. You're not ready, but the fact that you've got them in a raised thing like this really helps. Get a little more extra protection. That one is nowhere as vigorous as this guy over here. I think this container is going to fit 7 strawberry plants, which is great. I do have gloves, and my left hand has a glove on it, but I really like feeling the dirt and really feeling these little roots and making sure I'm not breaking the little tiny feeder roots that have developed. And that's much easier, no matter how great the gloves are, and these are great gloves. Your actual bare hands are even better, I think. Real careful with the crown. Make soil contact. Make sure that crown isn't buried. And let's see, I have space for one more. A little bit of fertilizer, mix it all up. And let's pick out a really good one here. So the other thing about getting bare root plants is they're quite often less expensive than buying grown plants, like 6-packs or 1 gallons or whatever. So if you're on a budget and you really want to plant a lot of strawberries, and who doesn't, getting them bare root is actually more economical. The one thing about it, though, is that when they're already started in a 6-pack or 1 gallon, you know for sure that they're viable and they're strong and they've got fully developed root systems already. So there's a win either way. There is no bad way to get strawberries. And now the final couple of steps. So strawberries are cool weather plants, cool season plants. They kind of like the cool weather. They grow great in coastal areas. So Another thing about growing them in a container is if whatever location you originally have your container in proves to be too hot, you just move the container. Hopefully that's not the case in this, because I like where the container is. It's going to decorate this veggie garden out here. And everybody can pick the strawberries. But keeping them cool, you want to make sure your strawberries are watered regularly, keeping in mind that those roots are going to grow. So whatever way you're watering them today, when the roots are fully grown, you're going to give it more water. Strawberries are like 99%. The actual berry itself, that 99% water. So you want nice, juicy strawberries. When you're watering them in like this, it's another opportunity to go back in and make sure you haven't smothered the crown and that the roots are all nicely covered. So regular water for strawberries and mulch. I'm going to give these guys an inch or two of mulch, which is going to keep that moisture in, keep the weeds away, and keep the soil a little bit cooler. We're in Northern California here, and pretty soon the fog is going to start kicking in. But right now it hasn't yet. But at the same time, we can get hit by surprise heat waves or whatnot. So mulching really is a good idea for so many reasons. Okay, all those little crowns are not buried. They're all in, looking cute. They're looking happy already. Now for some mulch. And finally, mulching. So you can mulch with anything that you know is going to add nutrients and not rob nitrogen from the soil, because your strawberry plants are going to need all the nitrogen they can get. I love this fine fir bark. It just does the trick for me. And I did think about rice hulls, but birds love digging through the rice hulls. So I figured, nah, we'll just not do that. I'm being real careful with the mulch. Again, you don't want to bury the crown of the strawberry plant. So I'm doing it around the soil and not over the actual strawberry. One more thing I was going to say, just in case there's a heat wave, if you can't move your container, just put a umbrella or something over it. You especially want to do that if the strawberries are on it and will get hit by a sudden heat wave. You don't want the strawberries actually cooked on the plant. So just be ready. There you have it, everybody. I hope you enjoyed that video. Really hope it was helpful. And like I said, there's no wrong way to get your strawberries. 6 packs, 1 gallon, bare root. Either way, don't forget, don't ever bury that crown. It really hates it. Regular water, full sun is a great idea except for heat waves. Other than that, it's just protect from slugs and snails and birds when those strawberries are ripening up. Other than that, just enjoy them. So, hope you liked this video. Hope it was helpful. Grow some strawberries, you'll never regret it. And come on into Cottage Gardens, even just to say hi, even if you don't want strawberries after all. I just love to see you guys, and I love to hear about what your favorite thing to grow actually is. So, there we go. Find me on Facebook, Instagram. I've been terrible this week. Getting back on that today. Like, subscribe, share, enjoy your strawberry journey, and have a fabulous couple of days. See you next time.